because a lot of the times when I come for yoga, it's kind of like, and like, it's much faster.
Yeah, faster than
Yeah.
I can walk for the first time.
Oh, that's nice.
Checking on for another 2 weeks because I'm
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, none of you will be getting the shot if you're like anywhere closer to take up space, so. Take up space. Should we introduce ourselves, maybe? Christy's here. So fun. So, great, I'm Court. I know all of you, so it's great to see you.
I'm Tara.
Miranda. Christy?
Alex.
Jamie.
Lovely. Okay, so we'll start. This is just a very simple Qigong form that I really personally love because I think, we can like talk about Dharma and talk about meditation and like, I especially have the mind or a mind that tends to like really want to probe and like get into stuff. Like I want to put a frame around everything. I think because I have a very watercolored mind kind of naturally. And so I really like just doing very simple things like this. And somatic yoga is the same in this way, where we're just really feeling the body, right? The whole intention of it is just to feel the body in space. And so let that be the whole guidance for this. Don't worry about how it looks. You can let go of any need to kind of do it perfectly, especially with people who are really familiar with yoga. Like, let's make sure we're softening our knees a lot, kind of like go into samasthiti really easily. So let's just begin by taking the feet a little wider than the hips. Yeah, just a nice solid base. And then bending the knees a bit. Right? Yeah, you might even give yourself a little bounce so you connect down to the ground. Nice. All right, we'll just pause here. So bringing the hands just in front of the low belly. So the belly. Let's take a deep breath into the nose. Then open the mouth, let go. And take another deep breath in. And open the mouth to release. Let's do that one more time. Deep, full breath in. And exhale completely. Sensing the feet rooting down into the ground. Letting shoulders soften. And just feeling that responsiveness of the legs, the feet. And so as we root down, you can feel almost like the pelvis can drop a little bit. And just noticing the sense of awareness, the sense of mindfulness. And just diffusing the body. It really doesn't matter what you're aware of. You're just feeling whatever's here. Maybe noticing hearing. Maybe noticing the feeling of breath. Noticing some thinking mind, perhaps. All okay. So with this solid stance on the ground, so we're going to release the arms. So we'll turn the palms so they face down. Just start here. It's very simple. Just rise on the way. So you inhale, go ahead and reach the arms up just to shoulder height. And then exhaling. Nice. So simple. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling to lower. Steady gaze. You're just feeling the body moving in space. It's like sometimes I totally forget. It's like, oh my God, I have feet. Forgot. Do you know you have feet? Do you know you have legs? Hello, welcome. you have arms. Just another couple of these, it's very simple. Just rising off the leg. So opening at the top of the mountain, so we'll bring the arms up as we did, and spread the arms wide. Nice, and then let the arms come back together, slowly lower it down. Nice, so you're just feeling the natural breath pattern that happens with this. And so yours might be a little quicker, might be a little slower. You're just moving at the pace of your awareness. Same on. Find one more here. We'll reach all the way up this time for swinging the rainbow. So we'll turn the palms to face each other. Go ahead and tilt over to one side. And just like you're passing a slinky between both hands. One hand to the other. So you can feel the hips shifting. You can feel the weight shifting on the feet. So you feel how the breath is affected. And sometimes when we're coming in from like the momentum of the day, right, all the demand, the speed of the day, the speed of getting here, right, maybe some uncertainty, being in a new space, new people. You really feel it through the body. So you can just invite the body to slow down a little bit. Let's maybe take it back like 5%. Right, one more on each side. You're just sensing the body moving through space. As you come back to the center, we'll part the class. Go ahead and reach the arms down, and exhale, scoop up. It's in part the clouds with the top. So again, just letting the breath be natural. Nice, so sensing the in-breath, maybe longer than the out-breath. So you're bringing a little with the child, a little interest in what's going on. Just enough to stay engaged. Because your awareness usually lands. Is it in the feet? Is it in the breath? Is it in sound? The last one here. We'll just bring the arms down like this. So again, pausing for a moment. You need to bring your hands in front of the dantian again. If you like, we'll soft bend to knees. Nice, just feeling like stability in legs, stability in feet. Okay, we move through. Still floating on the air. So go ahead and turn the left palm up. We'll turn the right palm forward. And then as you inhale, you reach your arm forward with that left hand take. Then turn the left palm forward to the right palm up. And switch. And so you can find a little rhythm with it. Just moving steadily, just moving at the pace of awareness. It might be helpful to kind of track that back hand as it moves forward. Just to give the gaze something to steady on. Side, one more here. Each side. We drop back to the middle, arms by your side. Okay, rolling the big legs. Kind of like you've got those oars. Reach up and over. So when my teachers teach this, they often teach this as rowing across the lake of samsara, the whole wheel of suffering. So we've got some big waves coming our way. It's a big ocean. It's moving. Side one more here, wherever you are. Be great. Drop your arms by sides. So like today, we'll raise the sun. So go ahead and bring your right hand down. We'll sweep it across. So lift up that sun. And then we exhale, palm turns down, and then the switch. So left arm comes across, reaching up, and exhaling to left. So again, just moving at the pace of awareness. And without any, really just moving at a pace where you can sense the body, where there's some knowing of one of the sense doors, either touch, hearing, seeing, smelling, maybe tasting, or even maybe feeling some of the activity of the mind. Last one here, raising the sun. Nice, and then very similar now, like we're holding a big ball, so you're holding the moon. We'll gaze up the moon, reaching out, maybe a little bit further backwards, and then we exhale. Okay, so you're holding the moon, and reaching up and back. Sensing, how does the breath want to move with this? And one more. We come back to the center. Nice. And just feel, pause here, just feel the aftertaste, the reverberation into your body. Like there might be some tingling, some vibration, maybe a sense of heaviness or lightness somewhere. And it's your exploration, your body, just kind of feel the same. Bring those hands up just in front of the hip points, just like little fists. So this is wind rustles the lotus leaves. So reach one hand forward, just like you're tickling the leaves. Articulate the fingers and come back. So you reach one hand forward, and just tickling those leaves gently. Feel reading, watching, listening, sensing, feeling. What we're doing. Gathering information, nothing to fix, nothing to change. Last time here. Come back to the center. Arguably one of the most complicated. So bring one arm up, turn to your side, and this other hand maybe down. So left hand down, right elbow up. And we're waving hands like clouds. Move to the right. And then we switch, bring that left elbow up, right hand down. And wave hands like clouds. Okay, so if you were a cloud, if you were like embodying a full cloud, how would that feel? And this last one is moving across the body. Moving back to the center. And so tap in that sense of stability through the feet, sense of sheer strength through the legs. Right, so we'll mix it up a little bit. So go ahead and step right foot forward first. You'll bring your hands up. So you're there. This is pushing away. So imagine, I call this the Rhode Island special, so we'll press forward. And then jab. So what does the in-breath happen for you? What does the out-breath happen for you? We'll do one more on the side. Then as we rock back, bring that right foot back. We'll step left foot forward. Nice. And you can always steady your gaze on something. If it's helpful to you to orient a little bit, you can always look at the corners of the room, maybe just seeing that, seeing the lines on the floor. And I'll find one more. Stepping all the way back. Okay, so now we're really going to get wild. So step forward. And then as we step forward, actually reach back and spread the arms wide. So it's a dove strangling. And then flap those wings forward. So pull back, spreading wide. Yes. Yeah, just moving at the pace of your breath, the pace of awareness, the pace of knowing what's happening, the pace of being able to track your body. Do this last one, we'll switch the feet again. Back, step forward. Great. So you might notice a little heat building. And those elements within the body. So one more here. Back. Okay. So we'll start with the arms out. This is another stepping forward. So we'll step forward, scoop down. Then we lean back, lift the ball of that foot up, reach up. And the arms down by your side, step back. Nice. And step forward. Reach down, gather up, pulling up, and down. Just one more on each side. Pause. Yeah, pause movement. Sensing again, lots of movement through the body now. Lots of sensation. Just bring those hands back to the front of the hips. Make little soft breaths. Maybe bringing to mind something that's holding you back a little. Block somewhere, maybe some self-doubt or some uncertainty. Some sense of having to rush. So we're dragging and emerging from the deep, so we'll bring one hand forward, just move through, and then jump. Great. So harnessing that dragon energy, magical, transformative, powerful. Moving through those obstacles that we all encounter along the way, present differently for each of us. Just one more on each side. Release the arms. All right, so flapping like a wild goose. Flying like an eagle, whatever. Maybe you're more of an osprey, maybe you're like a red hawk, whatever your pigeon, whatever your bird is great. So we'll reach the arms out, reach out, maybe come onto the toes, and then do that step. Flap those arms, come up. Great. Nice. Don't be afraid to fall. Be aware while we're moving a little faster too. Amazing. It's one more wherever you are. Ooh, so much. Ooh, feeling everything that happened there. The windmill turning in the breeze, moving the arms down. We'll start to sweep them back. And this is the most matrixy, like we'll get back and then all the way around. You don't have to go crazy, but you can. And just feeling the body out. It's full torso opening. One more in this direction, and then we'll switch. Taking it the other way. Do two more in this direction. Come back to the center. Ooh. Lovely windmills. So just orienting again to the felt sense of the body. Nice. And then walking through tall grass. So we'll lift up right knee, left hand, so they're connected by a string. Let it go. The other side. Last one each side. Back to the center. And so the final of the 18 harmonizing movements, gathering the fragrance of the earth. So reach down, scoop up all that fresh chi, fresh product, shower it down through the crown, through the throat, through the heart, all the way down, letting go of what we don't need. Just feeling free to do that. A few more times, 2 more times, 5 more times, whatever. Just gathering, settling, releasing. Chronic washing. Settle. We feel it's okay. Maybe just pausing here, eyes open or closed. Just pausing in standing meditation for a minute or so. Is there anywhere you can soften? bring the arms up. This with that right hand, the left palm open, and good job. Well, guys, thank you so much. 18 harmonizing movements. And oh, really got some juice moving around.
Got all 18?
We got all 18. We did. We got them. So if you need a restroom and you're new to the space, just in the hallway, they have beautiful handmade signs on them that say restroom. Oh, let me see if I can find some. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, and then otherwise, feel free to grab cushions. If you'd like a chair, then follow me. And pull them from another room. Yeah. Excellent. We're very informative.
Well, I was in Australia at the end of the year, and I think I had such a base layer from being there that like as soon as it got warmer here, it like came right back, because I think I had a period in between life. But people keep telling me how it's fun at work, and I'm like, I swear it's because we had so much beach time in January. Less people. We'll do it. I'm not used to that. What's that?
We're not good.
Sydney mostly. Yeah, a good friend of both of my wife's was there, and she was like, she goes like at the end of every year pretty much, and takes a long stretch of time off of work. She was just like, well, if you can get yourselves there, I'll like look you up with places to stay and stuff like that. We wanted to go the year prior and it didn't work. So, yeah, great. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's like they completed, yeah, so it was like, yeah, it was like 85-ish. So it was perfect. Yeah, yeah, right. That helped.
Keep a little eye on this situation.
Just recently.
Oh, do we have a deep caution on it? Can you look at? We sure do. Absolutely.
Covers a little bit. Great.
Haven't put it out yet this week? No, because. It's too much.
Tara, you come to this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. Cool. You did a job. Okay. That's how you know that. Okay.
Yeah, I used to work with.
Okay.
From the climate change.
And then that you.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes.
Cool. Good to see you again. Because you must have come the night that I facilitated.
Yeah.
Because he was there. Okay. Back in the Hope Street. Yes. That sounds right. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I did last year's.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was in January. Or just like-
Yeah, you can, hey, yeah. Have you been before?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so it's some kind of context for, it was like, whenever, on Saturdays, I was like, oh, cool.
Good to see you.
Yeah, this sounds like.
You're, yeah.
I was in California for a little while, and then for
Yeah, they're only out there.
Don't you live in Foster or something?
I do in Foster, yeah. That would have been early, but I have a hard time finding it.
Yeah.
I know. No problem. They're just hanging out. They still, yeah. Yeah. They're just like, I think they're just on break. Because they hang out in this a lot. And I'm like, oh, it's every day. Yeah. Sweet. I just.
Oh, really?
That's me.
It's Christine.
I associate that with a school.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Okay, I must have.
Feels far. I went for It's,
Okay. Oh, where does that go?
yeah, and when they go to their.
Oh, it's well,
It's not.
Okay.
What were you doing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Technologists, like,
Okay.
15 years ago. I really loved it.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
live right here.
No.
Yeah, I live on Green Street.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really glad.
It's a great school. And like,
Okay.
It's the same pressure.
I have different.
Yeah.
I was.
I didn't know you could have this. How amazing here.
And you have a. Actually,
I usually try to.
Yeah. I'm also.
Yeah, I'm more accustomed.
So when we move this on.
So I.
No, yeah, I mean, as people come to church, so.
That was kind of my gateway to. I'm not sure. I don't know, go anymore. Yeah. What are some of the?
And there was no collaboration.
So they're doing it soon, isn't it?
June?
So next 14.
Sure. Yeah.
Are you feeling better?
I'm not sure.
Be like, everything is like all set, like.
I think, yeah, I'm not. Well, she kind of fits the style of this.
They're being very.
It's. I didn't write mine until the morning. I watched myself in a watch.
I have a feeling it's gonna be my route. I need like an intense deadline to really get myself going. So, I understand. I think that's pretty common. Yeah. What is your dress look like? Are you wearing a dress? It's like embroidered olive branches. Cool.
Familiar with space? I'm
Mm.
familiar with
Cool. Awesome. I would love to see. My cousin just got engaged not that long ago. It was like last February, before she was engaged. I was like, please tell me you're planning to buy and I was like, she's like, oh my gosh, yes. I have a vision for your dress. I'm going to share it with you. And then she just sent me this photo of everything. She's like, remember that vision that you shared with me? And it's like, that dress. So I was like, oh my God. She's like, I just brought it. Isn't that fun? We had two friends neither of them were Catholic, but they just yeah. I was like, any excuse.
We need more.
Yeah, this is.
So I have
Well, maybe not.
Do they want to?
I don't know. Hi. Come sit with us. All right, well, maybe that one doesn't open. Never mind. It's a nice big circle.
Are you trying to
Really-
stick to the circle?
really spread out.
Oh,
You can go-
okay.
You can go right there. You can be anywhere you want.
You were ready to trust your instincts.
Please stand alone. Hi.
Like your hair, sure.
I'm here.
Yes, you are, very much so.
One bright eye, shoot it out, ready.
Yes, I see that.
Fierceness, yeah. I was like, Danny, oh, so happy.
George.
Yes, that's my middle name.
George is your middle name?
Yeah, it's my father's name.
I came last week.
There were 3 sons before me, but I was the one who was lucky enough to carry his name. I guess.
I'm gonna put a cushion up for
The last 2.
Welcome to Wednesday night, everybody. I think I had a chance to touch base briefly with anybody that I haven't met before, pretty sure. So I always like to start with just a brief sit prior to getting to the Dharma talk portion of the evening, maybe 5 minutes or so. So I have a prompt that I'll read for the sit. And the plan was to start with that and then come back to it. We'll do a longer sit after I do the Dharma portion of the evening. So you'll all be able to get a little bit of compare and contrast with how it feels to be prompted in this way at the beginning and then again at the midpoint as well. So Court had recommended this book, Buddha's Brain, Practical Neuroscience of Happiness, Love, and Wisdom. So I've been kind of slowly making my way through that. And the prompt comes from that text. So, take a big breath and relax. Either keep your eyes open or closed. Doesn't matter. Be aware of any sounds coming and going, and let them be whatever they are. Know that you are taking this time to meditate. You can drop all other concerns during this period, like setting down a heavy bag before plopping into a comfortable chair. After the meditation, you can pick those concerns up again if you want to. Bring your awareness to the sensations of breathing. Don't try to control the breath. Let it be whatever it is. Sense the cool air coming in and warm air going out. Notice the chest and belly rising and falling. Try to stay with the sensations of each breath from beginning to end. You may want to softly count your breaths up to 10 and then starting over. You can go back to 1 if your mind wanders, or note them quietly to yourself as in and out. It's normal for the mind to wander, and when it does, just return to the breath. Be kind and gentle with yourself. See if you can stay attentive to 10 breaths in a row, which is usually a challenge at first. After your mind settles down during the first minutes of the meditation, explore becoming increasingly absorbed in the breath and letting go of everything else. Open yourself to the simple pleasures of breathing, given over to the breath. With some practice, see if you can stay present with the breath for dozens of breaths in a row. Using the breath as a kind of anchor, be aware of whatever else is moving through the mind. Aware of thoughts and feelings, wishes and plans, images and memories, all coming and going. Let them be what they are. Don't get caught up in them. Don't struggle with or get fascinated by them. Have a sense of acceptance, even kindness, toward whatever passes through the open space of awareness. Keep settling into the breath, perhaps with a growing sense of peacefulness. Be aware of the changing nature of what passes through the mind. Notice how it feels to get caught up in the passing contents of awareness, and how it feels to let them go by. Be aware of peaceful, spacious awareness itself. So there are a lot of different prompts for things that could be paid attention to as you're meditating. So I would encourage, if any in particular seem to spark you, to try to pay attention to whatever that was over the next 5 minutes or so as we just sit in silence. We're about 10 minutes into the hour right now. One thing I just want to prompt for people is take stock of how you feel having sat for 10 minutes or so. If there's any adjustments that you could make in order to feel more comfortable, more able to be attuned to what's going on in the room, internally, and so forth, then you might need to take those adjustments. You certainly don't need to wait for permission to be given in order to adjust yourself. Just sometimes I know, for me, I'm not even aware of the should stand in incremental adjustment in service of being more receptive and the prompt should be helpful. So the theme that we're going to be exploring this month generally is in regards to thinking. So I know that when I first came to the practice of meditation, I held the belief that I was meditating in service of ridding my mind of thoughts. And as in, if I am successfully, quote unquote, practicing, that means I'm going to have this blissfully blank slate state of mind amidst the time that I'm sitting. I'm not exactly sure where that belief came from. I don't think anyone explicitly told me that, and at the same time, I held that belief. I think many others might. I know that for me, it's very rare to go more than a few moments without noticing some degree of mental chatter that's happening. Allegedly, there are people who don't have any sort of internal monologue at all. And actually, I'm genuinely curious, are any of you people who can claim that? It seems unlikely that a group like this would have anyone who has that characteristic, and at the same time, genuinely. Okay, so I can assume that all of the rest of you are like me, and that and regardless of what the quality of those thoughts are, or how pleasant or unpleasant it might be, you're also not likely to go for very long without being aware of the present stream of thoughts. So I've thought a lot about changing my objective, or one of my objectives, I should say, for what I am practicing in service of, is to have like a more honed discernment of the types of thoughts that I am having. I'm unlikely, just as is true, I think, of many of you, to be able to rid myself of the thoughts. So if I am stuck with them, you all are stuck with yours as well. How can we harness the fact that we're tapped into this ever-present stream of thoughts in service of upholding the possibility of liberation for all beings? So I'm going to pull from the Buddha's brain text again. So the author's right. Much as your body is built from the foods you eat, your mind is built from the experiences you have. The flow of experience gradually sculpts your brain, thus shaping your mind. Some of the results can be explicitly recalled, such as, this is what I did last summer, that is how I felt when I was in love. But most of the shaping of your mind remains forever unconscious. This is called implicit memory, and it includes your expectations, models of relationships, emotional tendencies, and general outlook. Implicit memory establishes the interior landscape of your mind, what it feels like to be you, based on the slowly accumulating residues of lived experience. In a sense, those residues can be sorted into two piles: those that benefit you and others, and those that cause harm. To paraphrase the wise effort section of Buddhism's Noble Eightfold Path, you should create, preserve, and increase beneficial implicit memories, and prevent, eliminate, or decrease harmful ones. So, kind of a lot to take in from what I just read. Let me just reread a couple of the sections from that stood out to me the most, I think, are what led to me wanting to read this tonight. So that part of the beginning, much as your body is built from the foods you eat, your mind is built from the experiences you have. The flow of experience gradually sculpts your brain, thus shaping your mind. So I had just been talking about the notion of becoming better interpreters of the types of thoughts that we have. So that's one part of it. I think another part is having a sense of what we can do to create conditions that allow for the possibility of the thoughts that we have to be more benevolent toward ourselves and others in nature. Some of the work of creating these conditions is fairly self-explanatory. Things like, are you getting an appropriate amount of sleep? Are you in nurturing, interdependent relationships? Are you eating food that is nourishing for the type of body that you have? And so on and so forth. I'm led to think about a particular symptom. Like one word for it, again, in the spirit of talking about thinking mind, is rumination. So I define rumination as repeated negative thought spirals that are, that you try as you might to engage in doing something else. It's just really hard to get your mind off of continuously worming its way back to that same topic again and again and again. You're thinking about it when you're trying to share a meal with your spouse, for example, or you're trying to get a work task done, and this thought just continues to burrow its way in, coloring the rest of the experience that you have engaging with the world. So I'm thinking about this particular point of time in my life where I was in corporate leadership in a particular role that I had. I was doing all of the different practices that I think reasonably would alleviate a symptom like rumination. I am getting up and I am journaling every morning. I am being intentional about getting enough sleep. I'm being intentional about meal prep. I am meditating. I'm doing yoga. I have social plans in my free time that I find to be fulfilling and so forth. And so nothing is having an impact in the way that I would like it to on this symptom of rumination. There's job-related rumination in particular in this story. And okay, I'm sitting down for my requisite 20 minutes of meditation per day, and the entire meditation experience was spent working over this particular conflict that's happening between two employees at this job. Or I set the stage for getting restful sleep, and I wake up hours before my alarm, and my mind's already going 1,000 miles per hour, trying to solve some of these innumerable problems that are popping up. And I experienced at this point in time a lot of self-judgment around, well, maybe I'm just not meditating hard enough, if that's a applicable phrase, or if that phrase makes any sense. I'm not sure how one would do that, and yet I was really trying to find the way to do that. I got to the point of paying for an executive coach myself out of my own pocket in service of, okay, well, maybe it's just that my capabilities as a leader aren't rising to the level of what they need to be, and so I'm going to hire this third party to help coach me through these different situations that are coming up, and whatnot. And ultimately, the thing that relieved the rumination was leaving the job. entirely. Completely cleared up, literally within a day or so. And it was quite shocking to me. A really formative experience because I've since come to be, I think, a lot more trusting of my inner state since having had that experience. There was a sense previously of, I don't know, maybe in some way I deserve to be feeling this way, or it's because I'm just not working hard enough, and rumination is a natural consequence as a result of not living up to the standard I'm holding myself to, or whatever else it is. Since having had that experience, it's such a sharp change, so abruptly from having taken a different path. I've become, I was just saying, I've become a lot more trusting of the notion that at kind of a base level, I have a relatively calm mind. I have a benevolent outlook toward others. I am relatively benevolent in my relationship to myself and so forth. And I take very seriously any barriers that come up that interfere with being able to exist in that naturally occurring state. So an example that comes to mind is, a couple of years ago, this would have been now, there was a real conflict with a close friend of mine, longtime friend. It was shocking to me that I was experiencing lack of sleep, similar rumination symptoms, so forth, in response to this relationship with somebody I really cared about, and still care about a great deal. And one of the big differences was this notion of, okay, well, I had a night or two of feeling this way. I really can trust that there's something that is off with this situation, because this is not a naturally occurring state to me, and it is leading me to have a lot of difficulty with having a sort of benevolent perspective toward this person that I think does naturally occur. And so what wound up resulting was, well, what actions would need to be taken in order to restore that sense of benevolence toward the other? And in this particular case, it wound up to be, we need to limit the amount of communication that we have with each other and the nature of communication. There's a kind of a phrase that has been getting spread around about keeping boundaries with others that I really like. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something to the effect of you're holding the other person at a distance at which you can still love them. I just thought, well, that's a really beautiful, a really beautiful sentiment. And I know that this person, if they knew that the nature of the relationship between the two of us was leading to me not being able to focus on other things in my life, not being able to get adequate sleep and so forth, they certainly really want that. And so even though in some ways having this conversation about having to have more distance from each other was really difficult, ultimately it was really better if the person understood and was able to restore again from a distance, really being able to have respect and goodwill and so forth toward this person. So there was this phrase that, and I don't remember exactly where it came from. I can't remember if it was one of the Sangha newsletters that Court had put out, or somewhere else on the Insight Sangha Providence website, but it was, we emphasize the development of awareness in everyday life. When I was thinking about the fact that this month the topic is thinking, and the notion of emphasizing the development of awareness in everyday life is one of the objectives of the Sangha generally. That was what led me to some of these personal examples of ways in which I think my practice is informed, improvement in relationships with others and with myself. It's interesting, this notion of not being able to do away with thinking. One of the areas that it leads me to consider is the notion that life itself is this constant engagement with tension and release. We experience that internally, we experience that tension and release ongoing in the relationships that we have. Reading this sci-fi novel should be a great choice for a Sangha book club, talking about it, looking at novels for that as well as Buddhist texts. As artist Brandon, he includes a lot of really beautiful passages on consciousness and so forth, and it's like a lot of really imaginative, futuristic scenarios and all. There's a text that gets cited, and it's not a real text, within the confines of the story. They say this particular text that's called the forever argument. There's a small section from that they cite within the story. So from the fictional text, the forever argument, there is no solution to disagreement. There is no technology that can overcome it, no leader that can repress it. There is only the eternal flow of argument. I was just thinking about the way in which, that struck me thinking about, I think maybe in some ways that could have a bit of a negative connotation, and I actually really didn't take it in that way, though. I was just thinking about the fact that all relationships, we're constantly engaged in this push and pull between tension and release. We do that in our relationships, we do that in our relationship with ourselves as well, and that's really the compulsion to rid ourselves of tension is what just pushes life forward moment to moment. And why would we want to get rid of that? If we did, we would cease to live. And so in the spirit of thinking about discernment of these thoughts that we have, can we practice in service of a more benevolent interpretation of our inner lives? And trust that they're trying to send us important signals about what we need in order to live lives of interdependence, connection, benevolence toward others, in the service of uplifting the possibility of liberation for all beings. So I'm going to have us sit for 15 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit of time for Q&A. I'm going to read that consciousness that was read. So take a big breath and relax. Your eyes open or closed. Be aware of sounds coming and going, and let them be whatever they are. Know that you're taking this time to meditate. You can drop all other concerns during this period by setting down a heavy bag before plopping into a comfortable chair. After the meditation, you can pick those concerns up again if you want to. Bring your awareness to the sensations of breathing. Don't try to control the breath. Let it be whatever it is. Sense the cool air coming in and warm air going out. Chest and belly rising and falling. Try to stay with the sensations of each breath from beginning to end. You may want to softly count your breaths, count to 10 and then start over. Go back to 1 if your mind wanders, or note them quietly to yourself as
in and out. It's normal for the mind to wander, and when it does, just return to the breath. Be gentle and kind with yourself. See if you can stay attentive to 10 breaths in a row. After your mind settles down during the first minutes of the meditation, explore becoming increasingly absorbed in the breath and letting go of everything else. Open to the simple pleasures of breathing, given over to the breath. With some practice, see if you can stay present with the breath for dozens of breaths in a row. Using the breath as a kind of anchor, be aware of whatever else is moving through the mind. Aware of thoughts and feelings, wishes and plans, images and memories, all coming and going. Let them be what they are. Don't get caught up in them. Don't struggle with or get fascinated by them. Have a sense of acceptance, even kindness, toward whatever passes through the open space of awareness. Keep settling into the breath, perhaps with a growing sense of peacefulness. Be aware of the changing nature of what passes through the mind. Notice how it feels to get caught up in the passing contents of awareness, and how it feels to let them go by. Be aware of peaceful, spacious awareness itself. as everyone's coming back to the sights and sounds of the room, just want to open up the last little bit of time for discussion, Q&A, commentary, whatever you might like to make of it. We've got a tiny bit of time at the very end for a few announcements. So I'm moving about 15 minutes, 15 minutes here at the end. So what did this turn out for you? What was the experience like? Either process or content related, as in there were certain things that were said that sparked this for me, or conversely, the experience of sitting tonight brought up this, that, the other thing. These were characteristics of my experience, whatever.
There was something that you had said about boundaries with other people and keeping them at a distance where you can still love them. And that, for some reason, made me think of last week when I explained how accepting my negative thoughts, or just my thoughts in general, was a way to almost let go of them and not let them affect me as much. But it also made me think of a long time ago when Court mentioned something about this whole not right now way of thinking, and I feel like that kind of really connected for me with what you had mentioned about boundaries, and almost kind of having boundaries with your own thoughts, as if they're like another person, and saying okay, not right now, yes, I'm thinking this, or yes, I'm feeling this, but not right now. And kind of holding my thoughts at a bit of a distance enough for me to be able to love myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I took that.
I think in particular, one way of doing, I think what you were describing, I don't know if this would be what you were thinking of or not, but what it brought up for me is the notion of, okay, there's a big issue that is bringing up a lot of inner turmoil for me. And also, I have something very time sensitive that's right in front of me that needs to get done now. And so, that would be a way of holding that boundary with yourself. And on one level, I can recognize, yes, that is very important. This matter that's concerning me. And also, there isn't anything I can do about it right now. And also, there's something else that needs to take priority. And can be easier said than done, of course, right? Depending on what it is that you're putting over on the shelf over there for a while, but totally. And that notion of relationship with the self, and you can use kind of similar characteristics that you would with relating to other people. It's something I was hoping would come through and what was shared tonight, so I'm glad that it came through for you.
Something that struck me was there was a phrase, and I can't remember exactly what it was, that you said when you were describing your own experience of deciding to leave the corporate leadership role, about discernment between, well, you didn't describe what the other thing was, but recognizing that there was something that struck you as not a natural experience or way of being, or something that no longer maybe felt natural to you?
Yeah. I think what I was saying was I don't know how well I clarified what I meant at the time, but I think what I was meaning to say was this period of rumination went on for such a long time, I almost started to habituate to it. And then having experienced such a dramatic alleviation of feeling that way, having left the job, in periods where any of those symptoms were to come back, it's like, oh, actually, when I recognize the contrast with how I feel normally now, that when I experience even just kind of an inkling of those symptoms again, it's like, oh, this is really something that needs to be tended to if I'm feeling that way. And that was just it was a very helpful point of comparison to have. It's like, okay, I don't need to freak out that this is happening or get upset at myself that I'm experiencing rumination. It's like I trust myself to know that if I'm experiencing that symptom is really something that's not right. It's not a me problem necessarily that's happening. that's somewhat I think of what I was trying to convey, if that jives with what you've been picking up as well.
Yeah, it was causing me to think about, I've been listening to like a lot of Ram Dass lectures from like the 60s and 70s, and the one that I started listening to today was explicitly talking about suffering and happened to mention the first three noble truths in particular, but this idea that any any form of suffering or any suffering that we experience can be used as part of that growth process. And so like thinking about then kind of looking at your experience, looking at my experience, because of course I have these same experiences where like something that previously I was subject to, like rumination, then becomes an object that I can sort of walk around and look at and inspect, and that rather than judging that thing that someone else shared, it just becomes like it becomes part of that natural process. Now we're natural is like the thing that stuck out to me because like it's all natural. Like all of that was like part of the process. And that was just something that I was thinking about. A cool little serendipitous.
Yeah. Doesn't that's call it all grist for the middle.
Suffering is grace, as he says.
Yeah.
So when you discover that, it's almost like cheating.
I just wanted to add a more comedic note to what I had shared previously. While I was meditating, I was thinking about what I wanted to say in regards to the quote that you said. In that moment, thinking about those things, I was like, hold on, not right now. I was like, why don't we just sit here and enjoy the birds and like the breeze and like actually just relax for a little bit and not think so much about what I'm going to say, and we'll say it when we get there.
Yeah, that's what the first 5 minutes of sitting, I was doing that the entire time. How should do this Dharma talk? What are we going to talk about?
I like how you added this little extra to your experience with your struggle in that corporate environment and that role, because sometimes there's just something that is calling us towards change, and as Court a few weeks ago was delivering as part of her talk, is like not using the Dharma to like try to push away certain things and practice aversion towards them, because one of the things I've learned in practice is a lot of the suffering or discomfort that I'm experiencing isn't necessarily the thing itself.
Right.
It's the trying to make the thing different than what it is. And it sounds like you kind of went through that struggle. You were like to the point where you were getting third-party help to try to coach you to be a better leader, and you went to great lengths and a great extreme to try to overcome this, where so much of that striving to overcome it was that suffering leading to that rumination, when that rumination was just, you discovered it was just really telling you needed to make a change. Yeah. So I think it's just really neat how so much is just brought together in all of this of our practice in the story that you shared. So it was a very useful and poignant story. Appreciated it very much.
Thanks. So we'll turn to some of the announcements. And, Recorder Laura, you might want to explain this one about the volunteers for the live stream. Is there anything either of you want to say about that? I know it was in the newsletter, but.
I noticed nobody volunteered yet.
Well, maybe and I don't know if I totally know what the ask is, and so
Essentially, yeah, we're doing this now because there are a few people who, for one reason, because we're on a second floor, so we'd like to keep the Sangha accessible for people who cannot make it upstairs for whatever reason, or who live in different places of the country, or can't find childcare that night, or whatever reason, any number of reasons why this doesn't work to meet in person. So we're just trying to make this accessible for people. Yeah, and the duty is essentially this. So just setting up a camera and hooking it up to the live stream, and then making sure that whoever's speaking actually has their mic on, which you did a great job tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, and that's really it. You know, sometimes sometimes people will chat something. So if we have a reflections period at the end, then people will want to participate, but they feel like they can't because nobody's actually watching the camera. So it's just that. So we're just kind of maybe considering, 2 to 3 people who'd like to kind of rotate through, so it's not a burden on anyone in particular. But yeah, that's it. We haven't fully ironed out how this is going to work yet, to be
We would,
honest.
of course, help you set it up.
We would help you set
But
up, yeah.
once it's all set up, it's basically just babysitting and making sure it's
Yeah,
just glancing every once
That's
in a while, making sure it's.
that's it.
And quite frankly, if it goes out, it's kind of like.
Yeah, what can we do?
What are we gonna do?
It's true.
We're not gonna turn it in.
It's true. So there's that. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see, so schedule-wise, next week, Court's doing the sit, or
Yes.
and then the following week after that, one of the 2 of them are doing movement. I'll do the Dharma talk again, I guess, to close out the theme of thinking, right? I think that's the last one of the month.
Great.
Sound good? Ed made reference to a book club earlier. The book club up here. A Psalm for the Wild Built is it's a novel this time. The Dharma themes. You've read it.
I've read it.
Yeah.
It's a quick read. It's really good. It's very sweet.
Yeah. So we're going to meet to discuss that Saturday, May 31st at 10 here. There is also I guess this is approaching more quickly every week, but the week-long silent-ish retreat in New Hampshire at the beginning of October. There's still space for that. Yeah. Okay. So it should be a beautiful experience. If anybody wants a more intensive experience that you get here on Wednesday nights, consider signing up for that. And then last thing, the Insight Providence is entirely donation-based. Where in the new space is the QR code
In the cubbies.
Oh, up there.
The
Okay.
bucket is in the cubbies.
Under the plant, directly under the plant.
Maybe we'll get a little pedestal for it.
We're still ironing some stuff.
But if coming and being a part of a group like this adds value to your life, the practice of Dharma is a generosity for the teachers donating their time, and the folks who own the space, allowing us to use it for a group like this one. All of the donations go in support of those endeavors that make up the Sangha. So, that brings us to exactly 7 o'clock. So I'm gonna end it there. But thanks so much to everybody for being here.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have any, I know we have some newer faces tonight, but this goes for all of you. It's so nice to see you again. If you have any questions, concerns, feedback, anything at all, feel free to reach out to us via, you can just reply to that email newsletter that goes out. You can reach out to us on Instagram, all over that Instagram these days. I will see it, I promise. You can call us now, believe it or not. You can text us to that same number that pops up when you Google Insight Sangha Providence. And you are also welcome to email us at embodiedharma@gmail.com. So anything that you need to communicate, feel free. We have all of the channels are open. And if all of that fails, come here. We will be here. And you can just show up and we'll be here. So great.
I would also just add, like, if you all have anybody that you might know who doesn't live in Providence, who's interested in maybe